You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast on BQN. We're here to showcase the films you probably missed, but should definitely check out. From independent and obscure to art house and absurd, each episode will gather, perhaps cocktail in hand, to discuss it all. I'm your host, Mark, and with me today are Matt and AnaCristina, special guest. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
So, listeners, I invited my good friend AnaCristina on this week. She had previously been on an episode of All Good Things with me. So if you listen to that pod as well, she was on a Voyager episode, the very memorable Threshold.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's the only episode I still have downloaded to my phone. Everything else, podcasts go away as soon as they're listened to, but that one will stay on there forever. It's very special.
The All Good Things podcast episode or the Threshold episode?
Specifically the Threshold episode, because there's a lot of episodes of All Good Things. I mean, that's a long podcast. I don't have unlimited space on my phone.
I love that Threshold, that episode made it onto your phone. I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, what are y'all drinking?
Well, listeners, you know I keep it classy. And today, because it was just what was in the fridge, I have a Mike's Hard Lemonade. That's what I'm drinking today.
Girl.
Crisp and refreshing.
Yes.
I'm sticking with the same crisp and refreshing theme. I am drinking, this is Dutch Craft vodka, which is my favorite 5 times distilled vodka.
Oh my.
In a seltzer with a wedge of lemon, and you can't see it, but there is a little flint of green in here because I grow my own citrus mint on the balcony, and these are probably the last couple weeks that it's still going to yield leaves before it dies back for the winter. So we're enjoying a little citrus mint in there. It's a minty kick inside the lemon. Vodka is done best when you can't taste it at all. So the mint and the lemon kind of combine those flavors and in a nice way that just makes angry water that much better.
I love so much that I'm not the only one on theme, because I will tell you, a vodka seltzer is a very 1950s drink, which totally is appropriate for this pod this week. Yes.
Also, very fun fact, I have heard that vodka sodas are also known as gay water.
Ooh.
It is very hydrating.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, especially for us older ones who don't enjoy sugar as much as we do when we were back in the day.
Listen to you. Okay, whatever, AnaCristina.
We're hitting elder status here.
You're still spry and young. I mean, you're gay geriatric, but
yeah,
right.
But actually, you're pretty young.
Yeah, once you pass 25, all of a sudden it's just you're the elderly for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, how like female starlets too. Once you pass the age of 25, you're considered dead to the world. So,
oh my god,
it's just
except for Cate Blanchett, she still kills it.
Except Cate Blanchett.
Anyway, I am drinking. So I was thinking about this film. And in particular, it is, 1950s film. And I wanted like a classic drink. And I actually do like going to speakeasies and stuff like that and getting like fancy like cocktails. And I went through a phase where I was like really into Mad Men. You guys seen Mad Men? Yeah. So I was like ordering all these old people drinks. And the wife in Mad Men, Betty Draper, she liked a vodka gimlet. And so I started drinking vodka gimlets, and it's really just vodka with some lime juice. So that's what I have today. I got a vodka gimlet.
No judgments for using lime over lemon. It's just that I'm mildly allergic to lime skin, so when I drink it, I get a little tingle in my lips. So you can enjoy it, and I will watch you enjoy it.
I wanted to say vodka gimli.
Vodka Gimli.
I want to say Vodka Gimli, but that's not the movie that we're discussing today.
And Gimli wouldn't drink vodka anyway.
No, probably not. Gimli's not a vodka girl.
Well, listeners, this is week 3 for the segment Now Showing. So I just want to ask you guys, have you seen anything cool last week? What have you watched?
So I was homesick a few days ago, and because of the weather changing and this kind of dark and creepy, everything sunsets happen at like, I think we're at 4:15 at this point.
Yeah.
Not quite towards the end, but close. I wanted a wintry aesthetic film that I could nap through. So, that's very important. A movie you can sleep through is
See?
essential.
It's a thing, people. It's a thing. Anyway, keep
It's a
going.
thing. So my illness double feature that I chose for myself was The Others from 2001.
Okay.
And that's more of a, if you haven't seen it, it's a gothic supernatural ghost story, which I love a good ghost story. And The Village from 2004, which is an M. Night Shyamalan period piece, a thriller. And they both have that kind of aesthetic of the leaves have all fallen,
Yeah.
right? But it's still warm in the sun on certain days and then cold at night. It's got that same wintry, spooky feel of it. So we're past the Halloween. We're not quite in Christmas. We're in that limbo period between. It was very nice to do both. And I actually did not fall asleep during the movies because they were just so darn interesting. So
Yeah.
I closed my eyes, but I wasn't sleeping. I promise. Just resting.
Let's see. I watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse just because I love the Miles Morales story in general.
Yes.
And that the second one is, I think, just as good as the first. It's funny because I look at it more now as a piece of art. I mean, the first one was a piece of art as well. Like, I think there was even new technology that was used to do the animation for the first Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie. But the second one, you see moments with these characters, heavy moments where the colors almost start to fade and blend. Like, there's a very specific moment where Gwen is speaking with her father. She's in her Spider-Gwen outfit, and she's she's arguing with her father, who's a police officer. And throughout the argument, you see, I guess, like a shade of, I guess, pink come across her, her section of the frame. And you see like a shade of, it's either like red or red and blue come across his. And it shows this division of, now they're not father and daughter. Now it's just like she's talking to this police officer who's dangerous.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, your heart starts to break as you watch the colors start to bleed as she's arguing with him and her heart's getting broken. That's just an example of what happens throughout this piece. Really pretty. And it was, I couldn't help but notice it throughout the movie. I thought it was gorgeous. But that's what's been in my old tube, the old color tube.
Oh, you got yourself one of them fancy color tubes. So I put on Her. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it wasn't streaming anywhere, but I was like, oh, hell with it. I really liked the movie. I'm just going to buy it. Spike Jonze, right? Yeah. What I like about the film is I think it's a good commentary on what it's like to be not necessarily able to communicate your feelings with like other humans, what it's like to be lonely, and also find the love that works for you, without judgment. Like, he ends up falling in love with his OS, but it's a genuine love, and you buy it in the film. And it's like, even the people around him are really kind of supporting him, and they're not like downing him because it's like an operating system. They're like, oh yeah, like, cool, you at least are happy, do you. And I found that message really positive. I think he had a really good support system. And then you saw it sort of towards the end of the movie, like, you finally get the flashbacks of what his actual relationship was. And you're like, oh, like, it wasn't all rosy cheery. There were bad times too. And I think the relationship he had with his OS helped him heal from that relationship that really gutted him. And from that point, he was able to move on and forge other relationships. But like, yeah, she helped him heal and grow in relationships. And I felt like they had a really special one. So I don't know, it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Great cinematography, great acting. Yeah.
I guess you and I were both feeling Joaquin Phoenix that week, right?
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix. Oh gosh.
All right. Well, also, we did get some feedback on the Dune episode from my friend Len, who lives out in Seattle. I had sent him the episode to check out, and he said, "Hey, Mark, great episode. Thanks for suggesting. I read the book a long time ago, and I don't think I got that much out of it. Now I want to watch the movies. You always put together a great, very entertaining and insightful show. Funny, too. Hope you're doing well." So thanks, Len.
Thank you,
I'm
Len.
inclined to agree. Len has great taste.
Oh. Well, this week, listeners, we're going to be discussing Carol. Carol is a 2015 romantic period drama directed by Todd Haynes. It is based on the 1952 romance novel The Price of Salt by Patricia Highsmith, one of my favorite authors. The Price of Salt was republished as Carol in 1990. The film stars Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, and a bunch of other people. It's
Sarah
set in New York
Paulson,
City.
Kyle Chandler.
Set in New York City during the 1950s, Carol tells the story of a forbidden affair between an aspiring female photographer and an older woman going through a difficult divorce. So I wanted to see this film again because I remember when I watched it how important it felt to me as far as for the LGBT community. You know, I grew up sort of gravitating and looking for LGBT films, but they didn't necessarily, I didn't feel like get what it meant to be in the closet, what it meant to be to fall in love for the first time, what it meant to have these feelings with somebody that may or may not also have these feelings. And I saw this film and I was like, oh, they get it. They get it with this one. It was written really well, directed really well, acted phenomenally. I was like, oh, I felt it in this film. And so I wanted to share with you guys. So hearing about the film for the first time and maybe initial reactions, what did you guys think?
I'll let you go ahead and go first.
Oh, well, thank you. You're so kind. So I did not see this movie when it first came out. I saw kind of the trailer for it. And at the time, because it was 2015, this was, if you think of the mental state you were in 2015, it feels like we were so young back then, I know. But I remember because the trailer specifically had so many scenes of the retail store in full Christmas regalia, and specifically the trains moving through that snowy landscape. I remember my impression of the trailer was, okay, this is going to be one of those artsy-fartsy Christmas romance movies. And I wrote it off completely. I was just like, yeah, not into that. Thank you. I'd like my sapphic romance to be a little bit more relatable. And these people were dressed in incredibly fine garb. And I was just like, yeah, that's not me. But I do remember 2 years later when the movie Disobedience came out, and that one had Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams, and that was about an Orthodox Jewish family going through some family problems, and that was also a sapphic romance. And I remember thinking about Carol while I was watching that movie. And now it's come full circle. As I was watching Carol, I was thinking about Disobedience, and it was just kind of a nice juxtaposition of the two very, very artfully made films, without having anything to do with each other really in plotline. So that was kind of what drew me back to this story and let me appreciate it with a new lens from the modern day, which was kind of fun to explore a little bit.
I did not know about this movie until it was recommended for our next pod, and I'm so used to watching upbeat Christmas films. So,
oh, whoops. Sorry, my bad, boo.
Damn you, Mark. Damn it. No, when I saw this, I was intrigued because it was a dramatic Christmas. I mean, it does have Christmas in it, but it's not, Christmas is not the center of the piece. But I think that alone, the element of drama and a little bit of element of it being around the Christmas season, I think was what intrigued me. So I was very curious about it. I love Cate Blanchett.
This is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard. I will die on the hill.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
the
Mark,
imagery around snow alone makes it more Christmassy than Die Hard.
Thank you. They have Santa hats, goddammit.
Oh, God. I think we just started something on the
Put your
internet.
hat on.
Oh, no.
Compliments of management.
But, I mean, I love Cate Blanchett. I love Rooney Mara, who I think shows range. I mean, our last pod, Girl with the Dragon.
Dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even plan that. I really didn't. I forgot that it was the same actress.
Yeah.
But she's got some range. She's very talented, and it was a joy to see her do something completely different from the character in Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. This person is very much trying to figure out who they are and finding their power. So this was just a treat all around to watch.
Definitely.
So in this film, we're transported back to a simpler time when America was still great. Just kidding.
Oh God.
I-
I dry heaved.
if I'm kidding, listeners, obviously.
Great for whom?
Well, I want to know, if you lived back then, what and whom would you be doing?
Wait, what and who would I be doing?
You're so
Mhm.
salty.
It's the 50s. So there's
probably
choices that
doing-
have to be made.
I'd be doing Marlon Brando.
Oh, girl.
And what would I be doing back then? Oh, hold on. Let me think about it. Let me meditate and marinate for just a minute. I have to figure that one out.
AnaCristina, do you want to go?
Yes, although I am curious about that Marlon Brando thing, because the first and only movie I ever saw him in, and I'm trying to remember the name of it,
Waterfront?
was it was the one where he was gaslighting his wife. What the heck was that
Oh,
called?
Streetcar?
Streetcar.
Streetcar Named Desire. Yes.
Yeah.
So the first time I'd ever seen him in a movie that didn't have him be a grandfather was Streetcar Named Desire, and my God, the arms on that man!
No.
Oof, I was not prepared.
God.
Yeah, and he was much more poetic in his language than I had been prepared for, because I was used to him mumbling through The Godfather. So so I was floored by the fact that you said Marlon Brando. My heart just fluttered a little bit. But to answer the question, if I had been alive, well, first of all, if I had been around during the 50s, I definitely would have died of arsenic poisoning way before I would have reached maturity.
What?
As
Why?
a neurodivergent child who tended to eat inanimate objects, that definitely would have been something. I would have been stripping the paint off
Oh.
of those old walls and licking them because they taste sweet, right? So I would have
Lord.
died as a child from licking paint. Something that happened to a lot of kids in the 50s. So this is real.
Oh no.
Yep, because arsenic is sweet and they used to use it in wallpaper. So
Oh, my
that's
God.
the little fun history fact for you today.
Oh.
But had I survived to adulthood, I would want to believe that I would have embraced full butchness and gone to a Rosie the Riveter kind of steelworker job, so I
Yeah.
could have the big arms.
Oh.
And I would have been, slacks with white front, tailored shirt, vest kind of lesbian, and I would have been very popular with the ladies. And strong enough to be able to fight off any cops that tried to mess with me, because I know that was also a thing. I read Stone Butch Blues. I know what the deal is. So yeah, had I survived, I would have been great, but I would definitely be dead.
See.
Not too bleak? No.
I love it.
Honestly, no. I enjoy that and I embrace that.
Mhm.
I think I probably would have been maybe with some sort of traveling group. I think that we still had a little bit of that in terms of the performing arts world. We had some traveling groups.
You'd be a troubadour.
I mean, I could see myself learning the craft a bit more extensively in terms of dance, because as I consider myself like a writer, an actor, and a singer, I guess, but I don't consider myself a dancer, which was like, I think back then it was like actor, singer, dancer. So I probably would have been
triple
more,
threat.
yeah, I would have been more centered around that and studying that at least. Either that, or I would have been, I think, a writing for some kind of paper, or maybe writing short stories. I'm totally, oh God, here we go. I'm thinking about Star Trek. I'm thinking about Far Beyond the Stars, but
Yes, me too.
But that's where my mind goes. I think I would have been some
Benny
sort of
Russell.
writer.
Like a baby Gene Roddenberry.
I would have been a baby Roddenberry. Baby Roddenberry, baby Russell. So that's what I think.
Magic.
So for me, I'm gonna be honest, like I probably would have ended up married to a woman because it was just easier.
A nice little beard just for you.
Yeah. But I would have made it like a priority to marry a lesbian. I mean, she couldn't have been out any either. So,
Yeah.
It would have been the perfect, we wouldn't have to sleep together. We'd be best friends. They could have been fine.
So you'd be literal roommates.
Yeah. And then as far as a job, what would I have been doing? I kind of liked what Rooney Mara was doing in this, where she was like a photographer and she got a job at the Times and stuff, and she hung out with like the artsy like film people. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that I kind of like, yeah, I kind of like that life. So I would try to be Rooney Mara.
And bless you, you'd still have to work retail a few years to get there.
Oh,
Right?
fuck
God.
you.
But department stores in the 50s, it's a different world than what we
It's-
experienced.
Oh, it's true.
It is. And the living was a little bit easier in terms of prices and being able to have an apartment, your place of your own, all that stuff.
True. Yeah. Even the dive that Therese lived in was pretty much bigger than my place. So kudos to her. She's living her best life.
She was. Well, this is actually this is a really good transition into the next topic, which is as you're watching the film, did you find yourself gravitating to one character over another? Who did you relate to the most?
Okay. So the two main characters I think embody two people I know, but definitely I don't relate to them directly. Mostly because I think that Carol embodies this older, more experienced, but at the same time also still a train wreck
Mhm.
kind of queer person that like everybody has a friend who's like this, right? She can't get out of her own way. And I think Therese is this embodiment of a young idealistic queer person who probably in the modern world would be some kind of defiance of social norms and gender roles, which I appreciate about her. But because she's a baby gay, you know, I've been out for a very long time. So I actually really related to Abby, the best friend growing up that Carol had. And Abby was, to me, she embodied that spirit of somebody who's been out for a very long time and someone who knows how to be stealthy, but also knows how to be defiant. And I think the reason was because there was a very specific scene where Harge comes to her house and bangs on her door, and she's coming down the stairs just looking like she just woke up. And he demands to see Carol. And first of all, Carol's not there, right? We know she already left on the road trip. Abby knows about this and is not going to tell Harge where they are. But she says something incredible. And I don't know if this is the right place to do it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yes. So, first of all, she dodges all the questions, right? Like, we know this. And then she tells him, you've spent 10 years making damn sure her only point of reference is you, your job, your friends, your family. And that is not going to happen anymore. I paraphrase the last bit, but that act of defiance right there embodies everything I feel as a queer person myself. And to just give that big middle finger to the patriarchy and say, you have no power over me anymore, and you can't do it to me. And I just absolutely adored that. And that solidified her as the character I identify with the most.
Amen.
Oh boy.
AnaCristina, you're a treasure.
I know.
Okay. The character that I identify with the most, I think, is probably Carol in some ways because I look at Teresa and I look at where she is in her life and I think about that's where I have been. And I remember what it was like to be in that place, to not feel comfortable enough to be in my own skin, to be shy about making a move on someone that I find it. I mean, again, baby gay. If I'm trying to just put it all in one, I remember what it was like to be a baby gay. But with Carol, I think for many reasons is someone I identify with because she's in some ways in a more mature place. She is an older person pursuing someone that's younger, and in the last year or so, I was in a situation, it was one date, but I was kind of pursuing someone that was a little bit younger than me, and I didn't really think about it until we were on our first coffee date, and I literally saw him like counting the the year difference between us.
Oh my Lord.
Oh my.
And I was like, oh God, oh no. And, to share something very personal, Carol is in this place of divorce, or in this divorce transition period, and watching the tumultuous relationship that her and her husband, ex-husband to be, are currently in some ways I've been through that. Not to that extent, but I know what it is like to, on both sides, be in a position where someone has been unfaithful and how that can just change the relationship, change how you interact with each other, change how you're thinking about each other when the other person isn't there, change how secure you feel within yourself, and also with how complicated a situation like that is, because I think so often it's just, this person cheated or this person stepped outside of the relationship, therefore bad, bad, bad. And there's just so much.
The media wants you to think and everybody wants you to think, but relationships are not black and white.
It's not.
Absolutely.
It is so
nuanced.
messy. It's so messy. And there are some ways that I feel for the husband, and then there's some ways where I don't feel for the husband. And then, there are, again, I think I mostly go with Carol, because I just feel like she is in some ways learning how to step out in her truth. And I think the cost of that was the relationship that she had with her husband. But at the same time, she has to figure out who she is. That's why I identify with her.
Well, for me, I can kind of relate to all of them, actually, to be honest.
Sure. These characters have their nuance. They're not cartoonish,
Who did you say, AnaCristina? What was her name? The character?
Abby,
Abby.
The friend.
So listening to you talk about Abby, I was like, yeah, I feel like that maybe at this stage in my life. I'm in my 40s now, and it's like, nah, honey. I'm not going to like back down now, where I might have 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I might have withdrawn and let the other person like barge down the door or whatever. But I'm in a stand your ground place now. I'm going to stand in my doorway in my bathrobe smoking a J kind of way now. You know what I mean? And not give a shit. Be like, no, you're not
That's right.
getting an answer out of me. I'm not telling you anything. She's my friend. I get that. But then I don't know. There's so many relatable characters in this movie, because again, I saw a little of myself in Therese, where, she, maybe not so much like, the timidness of her, but I guess her curiosity and her like just wanting to find that connection with another person. And she's looking so hard to find that connection with another human. And then you have Carol, who is finally starting to get to that stage where she's choosing herself over somebody else. But also there's sacrifices, because she loves her daughter. So she has that dilemma of like, okay, do I keep living this lie in order to see my daughter, or do I, not, and that's really tough. It guts her, because her daughter is her whole world. She might be into ladies, but the thing is she's more into loving her child. So I can understand that too. I don't know. I just found the characters really human, really relatable. But yeah, I guess I'll go with Abby too, because I think you pulled me over to that corner. That's who I feel like now.
I love that unexpected joys happen so often when we discuss these things together. And I can see. I guess I was a little bit hypercritical of Therese when I was watching this movie, and that was just because she is very young. She's very idealistic. And she doesn't seem to, and she talks about it later in the film, she doesn't seem to have a sense of herself. So she just says yes to everything and doesn't really examine it. And I've had friends like that too.
She's self-aware though.
She is self-aware. And I think she realizes that her relationship with Richard is not what it needs to be.
Okay.
Oh,
Richard. Who played Richard, the actor?
So Richard was played by Jake Lacy.
Okay, Jake Lacy.
You recognize him, don't you?
Kudos to Jake Lacy.
Yeah.
This man deserves an award for being the most punchable man in Hollywood. No, I mean, for real. We should send him a Z. We should start giving out awards for the most punchable human.
Ooh,
and this
yes,
dude,
let's make that a segment.
Yeah, for sure. This guy, everything he's ever been in, he's been the most believable bastard. And I believed him in this one of being just a prick, a misogynistic prick.
Very
controlling, selfish prick. And he was so good at it. So kudos. He gets an award. Very good acting, because I don't believe he's like that in real life. There's no way, especially in 2023, he can't be that way and still get a job. So he's got to be a fantastic actor.
It's interesting, when you see the scenes between the women and the men in this movie, and the conflicts that happen, the dialogue, it's very interesting, because you can hear the men being totally out of line. Carol's ex-husband,
Yeah.
has a problem with alcoholism, and that is something that, Carol was like, I can't put up with this, but I think she's expected to, especially in this time period. She's expected to.
Definitely.
And and I said her name wrong earlier, Therese is in a situationship with someone that cheated on her twice, right?
Yes, it was a previous relationship that he didn't take seriously and she did.
Right. Yet he kept trying to pursue her, and I think in a way expecting her to relent and to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's that more of that man mindset, especially of that time period of, no, you are supposed to stay with me. And I'm thinking at that point in time, the reputation that is also at stake in this time period, I think especially for the women, the reputation of, well, if you're not married with kids and all these things that you're supposed to have in that time period, it says something about you and your reputation. And then the men, I think that also feel like they have that at stake too. Like it's not a matter of, and I think that's the thing, is that it wasn't a matter of so much love for these men. Maybe somewhere in their mind, they thought that that's what it was. But to me, it wasn't a matter of love for the men, more of reputation. And this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. It was like taking a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a need for stability and safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder if you guys have heard of the feminist term compulsory heterosexuality. Is that
No.
something that's crossed your desk?
Oh my God,
Ooh.
No. How have I not heard this? Please
You are in
spill
for a
that
treat. I read Judith Butler over the summertime. Very difficult read, but it was called Gender Trouble. This book is incredible. And this is not where the origin of compulsory heterosexuality comes about, but they talk about it a lot because it's about French queer theory. And the underlying understanding of compulsory heterosexuality has changed a lot over the years, but the original understanding of it that came out when Adrienne Rich wrote her short story, which is entitled that, or I guess it was a short missive. She talks about the understanding that society puts cultural norms towards this heteronormative existence that we're supposed to have. That's what you were talking about with we have to get married, we have to have children, we have to live in this nice house. And it's interesting that Carol has that, but it's falling apart. And Therese is going into it with her boyfriend Richard and doesn't want it, right? So that's very interesting. They're on the same path in very different places. And that's kind of what you were talking about when you were talking about the expectations that society puts on Therese is to say yes to Richard, go to Europe, get that proposal, fall in love, have that big wedding, and then the expectation is pop out a couple of kids because she is attracted to him. And there might be parts of her that are legitimately attracted to him. But one of the things that compulsory heterosexuality imposes upon young queer people is this understanding that your attraction is supposed to be this way, but it isn't, right? And so you have to either play the role and become that wife, or you subvert that role and you never get married and you are often seen as a spinster or as a harlot or as a deviant. And these are the kind of things that compulsory heterosexuality can do to a queer person that leaves real scars on them for the rest of their lives.
Well, especially that time, there would have been dirty looks every time they went to buy groceries. There would have been people, like painting stuff that's rude on their house just for not following the traditions of like what society says they should be doing.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't recommend reading Adrienne Rich, by the way. She's a raging transphobe, but I would recommend reading Judith Butler because she's amazing. For all you feminist nerds out there, just have fun with that.
Oh, there's a lot on this, that listen to this podcast. So,
and thank you for that knowledge.
Of course. I am curious about what you guys think as people who grew up in our modern era about flirting at a retail counter. That's something that it was probably about the second or third scene that we saw Carol coming over to ask for a present for her daughter and asking for a specific doll that was not in stock. But the fact that Therese talks about what she loved as a kid, and then, I know we're going to have this scene, but I just want to know what you think about, is it appropriate to flirt in a retail setting, or does that just always leave you with a bad taste in your mouth?
So I feel like I have to throw this out there because we did cover the film Shop Girl very early on here. And my primary complaint with that film is that Steve Martin's character was shopping for the shop girl. He went in there specifically to shop to get a date. He wanted her. He wanted a piece of that girl. He wanted to take her home. So I hated that about the film. That pissed me off. That wasn't done here. Sorry. It was completely different. She went in there to buy toys for her daughter. Now it's the 1950s. They don't have Grindr or whatever the lesbians use. Sorry, I have no idea. I'm not
lesbian
a lesbian.
Bars.
Lesbian Grindr.
The bar scene was very big in the 50s.
But yeah, they don't have these things, right? That would have been accessible. So if you want to meet somebody, there's things. Are you a friend of Dorothy? It's like that kind of conversation that you would have naturally with somebody out in the world. And so I felt like in this occasion, it was done much better here. It didn't feel heavy-handed to me. Maybe Matt has a different opinion, but to me, it didn't feel heavy-handed. And I felt like I didn't even really pick up on much flirting. I saw Carol on a fact-finding mission. She just wanted to figure out where she was at. She wasn't necessarily like, hey, let's get together, blah, blah, blah. As far as I wonder if you're on the same team as me. Let's have a conversation. And the leaving the gloves was just a way of well, maybe here's my calling card. You can get in touch with me. So that's how I felt about it. I don't know.
Calling card. That's actually wonderful. I love that.
I think two things. I think for one, I think that I don't have a problem with someone flirting in a retail store if it's the situation with Carol and Therese where Carol just noticed her across the room and had to try to shoot a shot. By all means, come shoot your shot. Please do. And write your number down. Don't follow the person on Instagram. I think that's a safer way to make the person not feel so obligated to call. So I get it, but there's something, I don't know, very sweet. I guess maybe I'm a little old timey now, but yeah, write your number down on the napkin and just,
let that queer elder come out of you.
Yes, father time. But I think in terms of Carol and that situation specifically, I think I was just thinking about it as an actor of what's your super objective? What do you want? What do you want from the person? And so I'm thinking that, probably knowing a little bit of the story going in, that Carol finds this person attractive. And so all of a sudden I'm seeing these choices as an actor that Cate made. And I'm like, oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. Oh, you came in so strong. So that's kind of what I saw there. So I think knowing some of the behind the scenes details, looking at the performance and looking at the choices, I can see it all now happening. And I think it was just delicious to watch. And for me, I guess that's why I was like, oh, she came in hot. She came in real hot. You didn't pick up on that, Therese. Come on.
Yeah, she was utterly clueless. And I love that about her.
Yes.
Carol played it just subtly enough that if Therese had not reciprocated those affections, it could easily have been played off. That's where that masking and that subtlety comes into play.
I gotta say this: people obsess over Meryl Streep, and Meryl Streep's a great actress, no doubt. She's great, but of our generation, of our time, Cate Blanchett. Sorry, she's my queen. I worship her. She's just amazing. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thanks, bye.
All hail.
All right, guys. Well, I do have another question here. And this one came up organically with a conversation with Matt. I had topic 4 down here and I had no idea what I was going to ask you guys. And then Matt and I started sort of waxing about what would happen after the film. What do you think happened to these characters?
Okay, so I think that Therese and Anna, especially with that ending where Therese comes, not Therese and Anna, Therese and
title of the film. It's the title of the film.
I can't. And Carol. I think that Therese coming to the party that Carol was at was a sign that there was still some kind of hope, some kind of curiosity, if not hope for a future relationship, maybe some kind of closure about what happened between the two of them and the time that they were apart, and looking back, what happened while we were together, what worked, what didn't work, how did you feel when I left? What do you know more about yourself now that you have had some time apart from me? So there's at least a a chance for a conversation of closure. Because I love rom-coms so much, I would like to think that this was a sign that they did end up together eventually after some conversations.
You're
I
so
don't
optimistic.
I know. I don't think that it was smooth at all. I don't think it was smooth, especially for that time period. I mean, obviously there's so many factors going on, but I would like to think that they ended up together. They found some way in the pressure of that time period to make the relationship work. I don't know if it lasted. I don't think it lasted for a short amount of time. I think it lasted for a few years. And I say that because I think that Therese is still, even though she's clearly by the end of the film more established within who she is, I think that she's still learning who she is. She's still, in my opinion, a baby gay. And so with that, and with, again, where Carol is, there's still a dynamic. You're still not quite in the right place. It's almost like, as you were saying, and in terms of how we're kind of watching these people at certain points in their journey, it's like they're in different time periods, and so they have to meet each other in the right time period. And I don't know, even with where they are at the end of the movie, if they would have been able to meet each other at the right time period. They're not quite there yet. So that's why I don't think it would have ultimately lasted. Yeah.
So you're torn between the satisfying rom-com ending of, at the very least, we get a sweet scene together.
Right.
Yeah. So we
Or
get
like
that
a sweet
closure and
little-
that feeling of love.
Yeah, or like a montage of a couple of years of happiness. you know?
And the reality of the situation, which is these are two people in very different places in their lives,
Mhm.
and that they might drift apart, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot sweeter than my reaction.
Oh, here it goes.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, here we
I'm
go.
gonna
Down to the
have to
dark
take a
place
drink
again.
for this one. Take a sip.
Take
Go
a
ahead.
drink for that one. So, certainly my heart is in the same place as you are. I would love to see these two get that closure. I would love to see them have more adventures together. Like the fan fiction writer in me wants to have many great years of them going on road trips and experiencing the world and maybe traveling to Europe or something. Certainly on the divorce dime, because, Harge is well off. His family is loaded. We've seen that. And certainly I would not want to perpetuate especially from the 50s until well into the 90s, the bury your gays trope, where if there is a queer person in film, usually if there is a queer person at all who is in any way out, they almost never survive to the end of the movie. They're always dying of something. They're always eaten by something. They're always sick or murdered or something like that. And that is a reality of the queer experience, that a lot of us don't make it to old age. And that is because that's sometimes where the real world heads us. And that is a reflection of our society. But at the same time, I kind of would have loved to see a bit of a Thelma and Louise style, like, defiance of reality, where they have this great, wonderful, burning bright, but half as long love affair that involves them in some ways defying social norms and taking their lives somehow. Like, there's just a little part of me that would love to see that.
I pictured Carol and Therese in a car being chased by police and driving, off the Grand Canyon.
Off the cliff, yes. But then again, when I watched Thelma and Louise, I was totally thinking that was a sapphic romance too.
It probably was on
you
some
can make
level.
anything gay if you're really creative enough.
Yeah. Oh, we should use that in the ad.
Which reminds me,
gumption.
listeners, watch 300.
Ooh, imagine. Talk about male gaze.
They did make a gay variant of that, I'm pretty sure. 300 loads. Okay.
Although that does bring up a very good point, hot abs aside. One of the things I found interesting about Carol was the use of the female gaze, which is something that I don't know if you guys have seen in a lot of movies. It certainly doesn't come up very often. I think the quintessential example I always use is the TV show Killing Eve, if you've ever seen it. It's a spy thriller.
I know of it. I never saw it.
I have seen it. Yeah, I've seen
it. It is a really good example of the female gaze, the way that women objectify and subjectify other women in a romantic way is very difficult to capture on film, because you can't just show a long lingering glance at someone's accoutrement, right? That's not really what the female gaze is. That's the male gaze with a female lens. And there's a lot of queer movies that you can tell it's not really made for queer women because there's still very much a male gaze, and it's still very much we're watching these people make out, but it's not for us. It's for the straight boyfriends who are watching this movie with their girlfriends, right? I didn't
What
get
about
that from
that?
this movie. I
Oh.
felt the female gaze here, and I was so happy to see it because it's very rare and it's hard to capture on film. Very difficult to do. And I thought that Carol did a great job, not only because these two characters are very much stealthy. They're very deep in the closet. They have to be in order to survive. So one of the things you mentioned earlier was that the filming of this movie was definitely, we're framing these things through windows, through cabinets, through doors. Oftentimes the characters are half off screen, or they're through a reflection in a window and it's constantly snowing. So of course you get the wet drops on the window and you see them through it. It's all distorted, right? So that to me was very female gaze, because when I'm going on a date with a new gal and I'm feeling fluttery things in my heart, right? I'm not staring down their shirt, right? I'm looking at their hands. I'm looking at their arms. I'm looking at this jawline right here. That's a very sensual part of a woman, right? And especially the curve of their back. There's something about that just drives me utterly insane.
This is so romantic.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah, you know, it's amazing that I don't have more girlfriends. But that to me is what the female gaze in film it needs to be in order to be accurate to the real sapphic experience. And I think that Carol did that so brilliantly in a way that I had not seen in movies before. And I was stunned at the filmography of this, especially since it was directed by a man who's, I don't know if you heard the director speak, but I watched a little making of, what's his name again?
Todd Haynes.
Thank you, Todd Haynes. Todd Haynes is not a reserved man. He's very flamboyant. So clearly he wrote this as a love letter to the sapphic experience. And I think he did an amazing job of it, despite being a gay man himself. And I think that just goes to show he's got great subject material to work with, because he probably grew up with some lesbians, you know. And he heard them talk about their experience. Me too, actually. Yeah, I grew up with a lot of really wonderful people, but they were mostly bi women, and then that one gay dude.
There's a moment, you know, that we're talking about the gays. There's a moment in, I guess, the lovemaking scene between Therese and Carol where, you know, Carol exposes Therese's body, and she has a line where she says, "My body never looked like this."
Oh, I
Do you
love
remember that line?
Yes.
Incredible.
And it was just
I had the same thought when I saw the first time I saw your Instagram stories, Matt. I was like, oh, my body never looked like that.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
Just slide in my DMs, listeners, for a close friends request. And but no, I think just speaking to that point in regards to the gays and her saying, you know, my body never looked like this, is there something in terms of, again, these two people being in two different points in time? Is there an element of Carol falling in love with the past a little bit, with her saying that line and looking at her body that way? Is there a romanticism there of the past, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think also it's how Therese sees her, because Therese is filming her throughout the movie. And there was this really pointed scene where we get to see pictures that she had developed. And it was the kind of friend of a friend, that guy named Danny, who was the New York Times reporter who tried to kiss her. And he's looking at these going, wow, this is really good. How did you capture the essence of this woman so well? And he's completely oblivious to the fact that what we're seeing here is that female gaze, because he can't see it. You know, all he sees is a beautifully made photograph, right? But what we're seeing is her undoubted attraction to Carol, and Carol's undoubted attraction to her. And you're right. When we see that scene, it's because we know that already. We've seen it happen with our own eyes. And now we're watching it from another person's perspective, and we're like, oh, you sweet summer child. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it would never occur to him to ask. And that's another aspect of compulsory heterosexuality, is that it never even occurs to these people that there might be a connection of love going on here, because it just isn't done. Right? It's not something they see, and it doesn't get represented until decades later.
I found
unless you know exactly what to look for.
The conversation Therese had with her douchebag boyfriend about
Richard.
Richard. Of course, his name's Richard. Dick.
Ah,
So the conversation that Therese has with Dick, when she's like, have you ever thought about or been in love with a boy? I was like, well, that's bold. All I could think of was like, this is a very modern conversation. That almost took me out of the film a little bit of
Mhm.
how modern it sounded.
Yes.
That was a little odd for me. If I was to ding the movie in any way, I found that conversation weird because at that point in time, it was only kind of like whispers of like, oh, there are some women that like other women. There were some men that like other men, but it wasn't like something that was routinely talked about. And she just did it so bluntly.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember
Yeah.
his response?
Well, yeah, he was mortified.
Yeah. But one of the lines he said, and I thought this was very interesting, he said, well, there's a reason that happens. And he doesn't
Mm.
elaborate what that reason is, but
Yeah.
the audience knows, right? This is that whole assumption of deviance thing, right?
Mhm.
We're
yeah.
going to
Mental
assume
conditions.
that anyone who is feeling those proclivities has to be a deviant of some kind, and usually because someone did it to them. And there's that through line, which very much stings in the modern day when you see the correlation between queer people and this right-wing reactionary movement that is trying to demonize queer people as predators of children and predators of innocence, right? Which is exactly where his mind went immediately when she said, have you ever known a boy to love another boy, right?
Mm.
She's asking this beautiful, innocent question, and he's just shitting all over it.
Yeah. But that's
Oh, what a jerk.
that's why these films are so important
Mm-hmm.
because it shows our truths, that don't often get seen and heard because of the media, because of, mainstream films and, people trying to, sell things, commercialization and all of that is trying to appeal to, the straight, cisgendered, Christian, whatever,
Yeah.
fucking masses. But they're not even.
No,
They're not
it doesn't
even.
work.
They're not even,
Right.
and they never have been. They've always thought that these people have always been under the impression that they were the majority, but they weren't. They were just the minority the entire time, making everybody else feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie does a really good job of, showing the other side of that coin. No, 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 no. This is actually, I think the majority of people, are on the spectrum somewhere. I've always felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not 100% gay even or 100% straight even, but somewhere in the spectrum. It's not black and white.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
getting into pan-romanticism theory. That's that's a dangerous road because people will backlash on that. So,
Oh, that's
I'm just
fine.
warning you about it right now.
Oh, I've been, I can be
Yeah.
canceled. That's fine.
Mhm. Yeah, and in fact, in our circles, we call it monosexism, is the understanding that if anyone tries to say that everybody's a little bit gay or everyone's a little bit bi, it's that gut reaction of disgust. Like, well, I'm not because I'm just into one kind of person, and how dare you,
Yeah,
right?
well, let's,
And even
analyze that. Like,
Mhm.
why?
It's
Why
that
would people feel like
programming.
that's wrong?
It's
I just
that
don't understand that
programming.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, people are
Yeah.
threatened by the understanding that sexuality can be fluid and that
Mhm.
it can move over time and it can change depending on the growth of a person. So, even in the gay community, there is an assumption that once you come out, and that's it. You can't change at all. So when people bounce back and forth between saying, well, I'm definitely a lesbian, but I have this feeling towards these celebrities, it's definitely not straight, but the way I feel it, it's still, it still feels gay to me. And that uncertainty creates this rift in the community between people who might have some attraction to men and people who have never had attraction to men. And you've heard of gold star lesbianism, right? The
Right,
concept
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
someone knows from the very beginning of their lives that they are not interested in men, and they go through their whole lives never feeling any sort of attraction, and they have a gut disgust reaction to anybody who does, which is very interesting. It's not everybody, but it is a thing that we all sometimes, that those folks experience, that we all have to live with, because they will create that world for themselves, and then anyone who doesn't fit into that world will be instantly seen as, again, deviant and not acceptable. And that's an interesting part of queer theory that is still very much being discussed today,
Yeah.
especially if you follow me on Twitter, because I talk about it a lot.
Rest in peace, Anne Heche. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so my answer to the question. So I messaged you, Matt, that this is like I said, I don't mind if I piss some people off. That's fine. I feel like these ladies, I want them to have a long, healthy life of scissoring together. I do. I want them to live into their 80s and Carol to be smoking these long cigarettes while she's hooked up to an oxygen tube and eventually dies of lung cancer. I just feel like that is where the story goes, and I want that for them. So that's where I'm at.
But I got to say this just to put in that positivity. There's always a chance in the tumultuous relationship, in whatever situation that you're in. Listen, there's always a chance, listeners, that it will work out. It could also just work out. I think that we are so used to the default, especially in the queer community. We are used to the default of it's not going to work. There's a reason why this is happening, or there is. I mean, for me, I know it's my Christian upbringing that I still struggle with having everything just be okay in a relationship and not looking for something to go wrong because of what I have been miseducated with growing up. So there is always the possibility, and I encourage you listeners more so than not to embrace the possibility of it just working out.
That's
it could
so
just
hard.
Be fine too.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's a constant choice to believe that it will work because of how we've been programmed.
Well, and the thing is like it's every relationship with every human that you ever come in contact with is going to be different from the next one. And the idea that you have to apply the same rules to each individual is just asinine. It's like, so how your particular relationship might work and probably is very different from how somebody else's relationship is with their spouse or their best friend or their whoever. It's all unique to the individuals, and we have to stop having that mindset. And that's what hurts a lot of relationships. It hurts a lot of relationships with friends and partners if you try to apply the same rules to everybody. You just can't.
Oh, yes.
You really
And
can't.
it certainly helps in the relationships of our two protagonists who found their relationships falling apart as they just were beginning to discover who they were. But let them grow old together. That's the ending.
let them have it work out and let them figure it out. I'm
going to update your language a little bit because the modern accepted term is called tribitism.
That's what I heard too.
Fun
I'm
name,
not sure
right?
if that was just the medical term or if that is so. That is the
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and even then, the practice of it, if we want to start blushing here, is not nearly as widespread as the porn industry would have you believe. Mostly because human beings have a low center of gravity, and you can only really do that kind of activity for so many years in your life before the hips start to protest pretty loudly. So I will caution any listeners to do cardio and to stretch.
My grandfather said to me, my grandfather's in a home and he was like in his 90s and he was still dating women. And he said to me, this is one of the last conversations I had with my grandfather before he died. And I'm not making this up. This is a genuine place. One of the last conversations I had with my grandfather, he patted his hand on the bed. He called me over. And he said, Mark, I can't really perform like I used to, as a man, but I still got my tongue.
I respect that.
If that says anything about my life and who I'm, where I'm from and who my family is. And I love him for that. And I will treasure that memory for the rest of my life because my parents were sitting in the room as well.
Oh,
and
wow.
My mother was clutching her pearls like I've never seen.
They were very big pearls.
All right. That brings us to Director's Bukkake. No, Director Kake? No.
Director Cate.
Director Kake.
Either way, bring your towel.
Right.
Director's Cut. Where each episode we pick some of our favorite scenes from the film and we reenact them in real time without any rehearsal at all, and we just sort of have a good time.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
So the first scene I have chosen here, Love at First Sight. Now, this is the very first time when Carol meets Therese when she's in the department store. and I cast this one. Sorry, guys. The next ones I won't, but I cast this one ahead of time. I would like Matt to be Therese, and if AnaCristina wouldn't mind being the narrator, that would be amazing.
Sounds good. So
I love
scene
Kate
one.
Blanchett so much.
Yeah. Should I ad-lib the first part because it's not in here? Carol walks into the department store.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, there
that's
you go.
assumed, but all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Catch eyes from across the room while you're taking your drink.
Action.
They make eyes from across the room, and then Carol approaches the counter and says,
I'm looking for a doll. She's this high, this wide. Let's begin again, shall we?
As Carol steps away from the desk a moment to rummage through her purse, Therese can't stop staring at her well-tailored suit, her blonde hair, her green silk scarf. Carol produces a crumpled slip of paper, steps back up to the desk, gives Therese a big smile as she hands it to her.
I wonder if you might help me find this doll for my daughter.
Right, Betsy. She cries.
Oh, she does?
And wets herself, but we're out of stock.
I've left it too long.
We've plenty of other dolls, all kinds.
Right. What was your favorite doll when you were 4? Do you remember?
Me? Not many, to be honest. Sorry, no smoking on the sales floor.
Oh, of all of the, give me. Shopping makes me nervous.
It's okay. Working makes me nervous.
You're very kind.
Their eyes meet for a moment before Carol rummages inside her purse again. She produces a billfold, opens it, shows it to Therese. It's a photo of Rindy, Carol's 4-year-old daughter.
She looks like you. Around the mouth, the eyes.
You think so? So, what did you want when you were that age?
The train set.
Really? That's a surprise. Do you know much about train sets?
I do, actually. And there's a new model just in last week, hand built with hand painted cars. It's a limited edition of 5,000 with the most sophisticated electric switching system. It's quite.
Therese checks her own enthusiasm, noticing Carol's eyes on her.
You may have seen it over by the elevators just there.
Therese points to the train set, and Carol turns to look, mulling it over. Therese watches her every move.
Do you ship?
Special delivery or courier. You'll have it in 2-3 days. 2 days. We'll even assemble.
Well, that's that. Sold. Shall I pay now?
Oh, yes, of course.
Therese begins writing out the sales slip, then slides it over to Carol with a pen, glancing up at her. Carol snaps out of it for a brief moment of thought.
We'll need your account details, your shipping address.
Oh, of course. I love Christmas. At least I love the preparation, wrapping gifts, all that. And then you somehow wind up cooking the turkey anyway.
She finishes, flashing a bright smile. Therese doesn't quite follow her, but she doesn't want Carol to stop talking.
Done. Where'd you learn so much about train sets anyway?
I read too much, probably.
It's refreshing. Thank you. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Carol walks away. Therese watches her, takes her all in, her manner, her style, her walk. Carol turns back for a moment and points to Therese's cap.
I like your hat.
Therese watches her go off past the train set and elevators. For a moment, she watches as the empty space left behind are filled by shoppers and staff. She cranes her neck for one last look, but it's no good. She's gone. Therese sighs. She looks down at the doll desk and sees that Carol has left her gloves behind.
Cut.
Yay!
Oh, that
Oh
was
my
fun.
God. AnaCristina, I was surprised you were able to breathe life into just like the narration part of it. That was great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for indulging my drama nerdiness.
Yes.
Well, scene 2 I called "There's Nothing Moral About It." And this is the towards the middle of the film when we first find out that Carol's husband is going to try to retain all custody of their daughter and not allow Carol to see her. So yeah, there is a part of Fred and Carol, and yeah, I don't need to do it, or I could, or whatever everybody's feeling. I don't, whatever.
Maybe
Whatever you guys
Fred.
do.
And I'll try
Okay.
not to do too much radio announcer from the 50s, like.
Oh my God.
I didn't want you to come all the way down here.
All the stars out tonight. I don't know if it's cloudy or bright.
Yeah, supposing I'm through it, supposing.
I
But, that lawyer definitely had a little bit of that in his voice. Like, he was very official.
think I'm going to be Carol.
Would you carol with me?
Yes.
Action.
I didn't want you to come all the way down here.
Just give it to me straight, Fred. What am I not to worry about until after the holiday?
Look, J. Rick served some papers this morning. To my complete surprise. Why don't you sit down?
Why does people think you're going to take bad news better if you're sitting down?
Listen, Harge has sought an injunction which denies you any access to Rindy until the custody hearing. And I'm afraid Harge has changed his mind about joint custody. He wants sole custody of Rindy.
What? We've already reached an agreement on custody. What is this all about?
They'll be filing papers on the 29th in District Family Court for the permanent custody petition.
Can he do this? Is it right?
I don't know if it's right, but it's legal.
On what grounds?
Well, listen, let's deal with this after Christmas. You'll have a chance to...
On what grounds?
They're petitioning the judge to consider a morality clause.
A morality? What the hell does that mean?
Okay, I won't mince words with you. Abby Gerard.
Abby's Rindy's mother. Abby is... If he can't have me, I can't have Rindy.
I'm sorry, but they seem serious.
When's the custody hearing?
It's hard to say. With the holidays and the backlog of cases...
Your best guess, Fred.
Not before the middle of March. Could be April.
Can I see her?
Now, let me put it this way. It would not be advisable under
At school, in an office with the...
The issue is not.
Surely a visit supervised by a teacher or...
Carol, these are serious allegations. Forcing contact before the hearing, you simply invite further scrutiny concerning your conduct.
My conduct? Jesus Christ. I'm her mother, for God's sake. Morality clause. I see.
Do you?
No, there's nothing moral about taking Rindy away from me.
Cut.
God, you guys.
And
I could listen to you read the whole movie. I was in a trance. That was good.
I did tone down the radio voice, but I definitely tried to embody the kind of dry lawyer talk that he was giving. Not without compassion, but definitely like he had to distance himself from this event because he knows he's giving terrible news.
Oh my God,
right?
yes.
It doesn't make him any more sympathetic though. Like
No.
I feel like she had a good lawyer though. I liked the lawyer. I felt like he and Carol were cool. He didn't judge her.
No, he came in to fight towards the end for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And he was the only one who followed her out of the room at the end scene.
Well, the third scene I have titled Surrounded by Spies. It is the title of a song by Placebo, which is my favorite band.
Oh.
But in this scenario, it is about the last time when Carol is out with Therese and they're on this magical trip together. And then come to find out the entire time, Carol's husband or ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband has been paying somebody to follow them and spy on them and put listening devices in their, hotel room and all this stuff.
That charming traveling salesman who was just so polite to them both.
Oh, I thought it would be a good final scene to act out here.
Oh, please let me be Carol. It's my turn.
You got it.
Wait.
I've yet to be the narrator, so I don't mind being the narrator.
Okay.
I'll be Therese.
Okay, I will be Tom.
And Tom will also be the narrator. That sounds good.
Yeah.
A nice balance.
Okay.
Action.
Carol, what the hell?
Where's my suitcase?
Carol, wait a minute. What's going on?
I want my fucking suitcase.
Carol storms over to the trunk. Brushing past Therese on the way, she finds her suitcase, flings it open, and starts rifling through it. She finds a pistol. Therese tries to block her way.
Carol, what are you doing with that? Carol, what happened?
Open up in there. You hear me? Right now.
Carol,
Stand out of the way, Therese.
Carol reaches for the door and finds it unlocked. She kicks the door open and takes aim. Tommy Tucker stands inside, getting dressed, trousers half on, half off. He wears a hat. He grabs his spectacles off a table and slips them onto the end of his nose. On the unmade bed before him is a big black case, open to reveal an elaborate reel-to-reel tape recorder and sophisticated microphones. Therese stares at the equipment, uncomprehending. Carol cocks her pistol and assumes the shooting stance, aiming directly at Tommy's head.
Where's the tape, you son of a bitch? How much is Harge paying you for this? I'll give you double, triple, anything you want.
I wish I could oblige you, ma'am, but the tape is already on its way to your husband.
That can't be right.
My reputation rests on my efficiency, Miss Aird. A tense pause. Carol moves towards Tommy, remains quite calm and still, but he keeps his eyes on her all the while. Carol advances closer, aiming the pistol at his head.
How do I know you're not lying?
You don't, ma'am. Carol, exhausted and distraught, gives Therese the telegram and moves outside of the cabin. She slumps against the railing. Therese exchanges a look with Tommy, who's still cool as a cucumber. Therese retrieves the gun, joins Carol outside. Carol lights a cigarette, looks towards the highway. Therese reads the telegram, then looks up through the door to Tommy, still standing, half-dressed, in his cabin.
How could you?
I'm a professional, Miss Bellevant. It's nothing personal.
Let's get out of here.
Cut.
Good scene.
Ooh.
Were you guys anticipating that scene? Like, what were your thoughts when that scene happened?
Oh my God. I didn't see it going that way as her being spied on. I didn't know it was going to be that extreme. I figured the husband was going to come back in some kind of way, just not in that way.
The standoff, though, with a gun, she meant business. I thought she was going to shoot his brains out.
I was confused too because she does shoot the gun at the machine and it either jams or clicks or it was never loaded to begin with.
It didn't have any bullets in it.
Okay. But she still shoots at it as if she thinks there are bullets in it.
Yeah, I think she's anticipating there being bullets, but there wasn't
Right.
any.
So it makes me wonder, like, we didn't see the scene where she acquired this gun, but it makes me wonder if maybe Harge had given her the gun for self-defense, but had left it unloaded so she could use it as an intimidation tool, but not actually to hurt anybody.
Ooh.
I know. This is where my brain goes when I see things like that. And that's because I have family who owns guns. And one of the things that scares me the most is the fact that they have guns in that house and they're way more likely to shoot each other than they are to shoot some mysterious robber coming in their door. Statistically, that's just more likely to happen. So, when it comes to gun safety and knowing, that there are guns in the house, it's something that I have to come to grips with on my own. But I also know that a lot of times when a woman owns a gun, it's because the husband is kind of imposing that upon her, like, oh, you could get robbed, so you should carry this gun around. So it just made me think of that potentially, and that would explain why she thought the gun was loaded and was surprised when it didn't go off. Which just goes to show that Harge is using one more tool in his belt to control her as much as possible and make it about himself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because it's not really about her safety. If it was, that gun would be loaded.
It would be. Yep. Absolutely right.
But yeah, I was not expecting the spy scene. Not at all.
Well, listeners, we have reached the rewrites portion of the episode. So in this portion, we sort of discuss the thoughts that we have on the film of what we would change if we were making the films ourselves. So I'll toss it to you guys. Do you have any thoughts on what you would change if you were making the film?
I think part of the reason I was turned off of this movie in the first place was because I perceived it to be the same story told over and over again. It's a wealthy, to-do, kind of high society woman who's clearly very well off and very comfortable. Kind of take what felt at the time, again, was taking advantage of this retail girl who was a working class person. And that kind of dynamic just has been done so many times in heteronormative cinema. It's that romance of a prince and a pauper. And I think that if I were creating this movie and that was part of the story that I had to tell, I think I would have made Therese a little less of like this delicate waif. I would have made her more masculine. I would have made her, still idealistic, but I don't think that I would have had her dressed her up in these like, a lot of her sweaters were very tight, and a lot of her, even her retail clothes were like very feminine, hyper feminine, in a way that I think they had to for the movie, but that I would not have made that decision myself. I would have loved to see her kind of more dressed like a working girl would, which is still very feminine, but higher collars and much more like broader shoulders and things like that. So I think I would have just changed the kind of color of the young and idealistic person as somebody who is already defining gender roles, maybe by wearing slacks more often. And I would have loved to see that more, because it's something that you just don't see. And particularly because both these actors are incredibly beautiful. I think I would have made her a little bit more like me, I would have liked to see her have not perfect asymmetrical eyebrows, or, like a look that doesn't look like she could pretty much wear a burlap sack and still look beautiful in it,
Yeah.
It's interesting too, thinking about that, because in this time period in the 1950s, wasn't the power suit just coming into, at least what they called the power suit in women's fashion, just coming into its own? So the shoulder pads were introduced, and the idea of, I guess, at least the image, because obviously the rights and the mentality and the treatment was not of the mindset of the power suit coming in for women. If I'm making any sense with that. But at least I guess in terms of the fashion, there was some sort of like at least aesthetic of women being in power coming into that. So I'm just thinking about what you were saying in that time period. Yeah. I can't think of anything that I would change. I know I say that all the time, but I just keep thinking if I take something out of the story, something else is going to fall apart, and then that's got to be replaced.
It's a good point.
No, I wouldn't take anything. Or
you don't need to have something.
Yeah.
We didn't have something last episode, I feel like, either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, AnaCristina, I like the point you brought up about the costuming of Rooney Mara. This movie, for me, like I love so much about it. I love the acting, I love the cinematography, I love the costuming, I love the plot and the elements that surprise me. It's like a sweater, you start pulling the thread and it's all gonna come undone. I don't know. I think I would leave. I think Todd Haynes, I'm just gonna tip my hat. I'm not gonna look for something. I feel like it's a really good film. I'm gonna leave it there.
Oof. Now I sound like the only one who had criticisms.
No, I agree with your criticisms. I
Not
back them up. If I had something to change, I probably would go in the same direction as you as far as that character is concerned. It makes more sense. All right. So moving on to positives. This is standouts, the section where if something hasn't already been covered that we'd like to mention that we think was great about the film, this is the spot to do that. So do you guys have any standouts, anything you want to mention that you thought was done particularly well about Carol?
I'll go ahead. One of the things that I really enjoyed was the little tidbits of history, or at least the mentioning in the background of the film of history. There's always a radio on or a TV on or something mentioning some little tidbit of history that was taking place in the 1950s. And while I couldn't quite hear what was going on, I was trying so hard to listen to hear what these tidbits were. But I think that the creators wanted you to know that, hey, history is still, an element in this in some kind of way. And so I just thought about, what was going on in the 1950s, and I just thought about McCarthyism and his attack on the queer community. And then I thought about the spy that Carol encounters, and that situation, and how the stakes are ever so present and heightened even more so with the fact that there is a very active attack focusing on the queer community. I mean, there's always an active attack, but just with McCarthyism in in particular, I think it was just something that I had on my mind when I saw that man with that spy tape.
Yeah, I think that we talked a lot about the cinematography of the movie, and I think you can't have a conversation about the visuals of a movie without talking about the sound. And the fact that you mentioned the fact that there was radio and television going on in the background of these scenes. I also think that the way that especially Cate Blanchett spoke, and the way that everything that came out of her lips was just the audio-visual embodiment of a smoky eye.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly did things to my nethers that I wasn't aware of. But I think that, like, you hear the confidence in which some of the characters speak, and it's very much a subversion of femininity, which is always supposed to be demure and submissive, and and leaving space for a man to interrupt. Whereas Cate did not leave any space for anyone to interrupt her. She delivered those lines like that was the only thing that was important in this world. And no matter how many times the male characters of the story interrupted and tried to impose their will upon her, she was steadfast. And I think that was incredible. And I would watch it 100 times for that alone.
I love this film. So standouts for me, I don't know. There's too many to mention. I just love the film. So I think we should go on to trivia because we'll just go on to trivia. I love this film.
I love it.
All right. Trivia. The character of Carol Aird was inspired by Virginia Catherwood. She was a Philadelphia socialite, 6 years older than Patricia Highsmith, who wrote the novel, with whom the author had a love affair in the 1940s. Catherwood lost custody of her daughter after her homosexuality was used against her with a tape recording of a lesbian liaison she had in a hotel room. Oh my God.
Wow.
So that's
happened. Incredible. Yeah.
This happened to somebody.
That's amazing.
That's awful.
And also horrible. Yeah.
Horrible.
Nobody should have to have their private moments blasted to lawyers like that. That is such an invasion of agency and privacy.
Although Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara weren't required to be on the other end of the line whenever they talk on the phone, they offered to do so to help each other out. Thus, whenever Carol and Therese talk to each other on the phone, Blanchett and Mara are really on the other end of the line.
I love that.
That's a very giving actor. Very giving actor thing. That's nice.
And this I actually know from YouTube because I saw a couple of interviews where Rooney and Cate interact with each other. Rooney Mara has been a big fan of Cate Blanchett since she was 13 years old and described the experience working with Blanchett as beyond a dream come true. They are definitely huge fans of each other. And just some of the gay panic you see on Cate's face when they're talking to each other, you can tell that the crush was real.
Yeah, it's honest.
It's honest.
Oh, I love this. Carol was shot on Super 16 millimeter film to resemble the look and feel of photographic film from the 1940s and early 1950s. Then a cinematography was influenced by the photojournalism of, I'm going to mispronounce all these names, I apologize, Vivian Mayer, Ruth Orkin, Helen Levitt, and Esther Budley. Or Bubbly. Anyway.
Bublé?
I was just about to say Bublé.
So that's really cool. I noticed a sort of a grainy film quality to this. And I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's incredibly filmed.
The three boys who run up to the model train set display in Frankenberg's toy department after Carol has walked away from it are Dashiell, Roman, and Ignatius Upton, the sons of Cate Blanchett and husband Andrew Upton.
Oh, so cute. Her kids got a bit role in the movie. The film received a 10-minute standing ovation at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival, the Festival de Cannes, and its international premiere.
Rooney Mara had been offered, I love this. Rooney Mara had been offered the role of Therese after completing Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, which we covered on this pod. I think it was the last episode that dropped. So yeah, check that out if you haven't already. But she passed on the role due to weariness. If you see her in that movie, it was action. It's an action film. So Mia Wasikowska?
Sound it out, buddy.
She was attached, but later left the project in order to do Crimson Peak in 2015. Mara came back on board in 2013 when Todd Haynes had signed to direct. So she was offered the role, wanted to do it, couldn't. She was exhausted. But then some time went by and she was given the opportunity again and she signed on. So yay.
How much you want to bet like Todd just emailed and called and left messages and was just like, please, 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 needs to be you. He seems like a persistent guy.
Yeah. Carol's classic fur coat was created from the fur of vintage coats with the pieces of old fur sewn together. Costume designer Sandy Powell revealed that it fell apart every single day, every single scene.
Oh my God.
I love that
so
much.
As someone who owned a fur coat secondhand, I can tell you that is absolutely true.
Oh man.
Yeah. My aunt used to clean out houses for rich weirdos who died. And so she would bring all of the clothing in a blue bin, so we called it the blue bin special. And one year I got 2 authentic real fur coats, and otherwise I would never have taken them, but because they were secondhand and they spent years and years in an old lady's closet, I felt okay taking them. I got to wear them like 5 glorious times, and then they just fell apart because they're just not well put together. A lot of them were shoddy sewing to begin with. And yeah, synthetic is way better nowadays, so you can do it without killing animals. Hooray. The second adaptation of Patricia Highsmith novel that Cate Blanchett starred in. Oh, this is the second one. Okay. The first was The Talented Mr. Ripley. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh, how exciting. I'll have to go back and watch that movie.
Talented Mr. Ripley, I think, was the first time that I saw Cate Blanchett in a film. I don't know. And I immediately fell in love with her. Her character in that film doesn't appear in the original novels. I read almost all of, if not all of, I think I might have read all of Patricia Highsmith's novels. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't consume them fast enough.
Wow.
I read all of the Talented Mr. Ripley books. I read Strangers on a Train. I read Price of Salt. I read all of these. I love Pat Highsmith. She's the best. Anyway, read her books. They're really good. But yeah, I saw Cate in that, and it's kind of it's a cool sort of full circle moment. She'd done that in 99, and then this came out in 2015?
With the exception of the suit she wears in the bookends of the film, all of Rooney Mara's costumes are vintage, well-worn clothing. Her character would likely have reworn the same clothes for years, and the vintage clothing provided that lived in feeling. Because Carol comes from an upper-class background and because of the film's small budget, it would have been very difficult to secure vintage costumes in pristine condition at a low cost, so her clothes are recreations.
They were gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. Especially that red outfit she wore the second scene she was in. Just floored me.
I was thinking about the blue, her like blue dress.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. In the mid-1960s, a treatment of Patricia Highsmith's novel was written for the screen with Lana Turner. Oh, Lana Turner. Okay. Envisioned as the title character. It's unclear whether Turner was even approached about the role, but her involvement would have generated great controversy, given the impossibility of a mainstream star playing a lesbian in a film of this era. The previous treatment of the novel, written in 1952, had altered the name and the gender of the title character from Carol to Carl.
That is some funny trivia.
Literally bury your gaze, right?
Yep.
Had to adhere to the very strict Hays Code, which was enforced at the time. In the end, however, this version did not make it to the screen either, and it would have been over 60 years until the novel was finally adapted successfully in 2015 to much more appreciative audiences, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch a film called Carl? I don't.
Can you imagine?
A straight love story about a guy picking up a shop girl. Oh, wait. No, we already saw that film.
In the first major critical survey of LGBT films conducted by the BFI in 2016, Carol was named the best LGBT film of all time. The British Film Institute, 30 best LGBT films of all time.
That is so cool. Best gay film of all time.
Hooray. Unless you count all of the ones that we subverted and made gay just by nature of us. Thinking,
yes.
Which is like every Marvel movie I watch, to be honest. It's the only thing that makes them watchable for me.
Listen, Captain America and Bucky have been in love for a
Thank you.
long time. A long time. I could go on and on about that, but those men love each other.
And they were roommates.
1940s. Listen, yeah, that's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
When we say friends of Dorothy.
I'm still shipping Data and Geordi.
Oh,
Oh,
their friendship is so
uh,
pure.
All right, guys. Well, now is the portion of the pod where we give our rating. So it's 1 to 5 something or others. And this week I thought, because everybody smokes in the 1950s, we will give out 1 to 5 long cigarettes. I'm sorry, smoking is disgusting, but people who smoke look so damn hot.
Mhm. Yeah. Shout out to all the people who are recovering from or trying to quit smoking, having to watch this movie and be like, the craving, man.
Yeah.
But it looks so
Because they
good.
look so cool when doing it, but you know that they stink to high heaven.
Oh yeah, disgusting. I will not
Especially
be a
those long
smoker.
cigarettes.
No.
Especially those.
Yes.
Well, if we're giving out 1 to 5 long cigarettes, this is on a scale of more cigarettes is better. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's an important detail. So I think we would have to defy social convention and chop one of those cigarettes in half. Don't judge me. And I would like to give it 3.5 long cigarettes. I think that the ambience of the movie, the cinematography of the movie, as I was talking about, the sound design of the movie gave me so much to really enjoy and love. And I think the only thing I would ding it on again is the story being told is a story that is very much through a very specific white feminine lens. And I would have loved to see a subversion of some kind, especially since now we know this movie almost became a movie about straight people. I would have loved to see them take an even bigger challenge and made Therese a woman of color, or made her a non-binary person of some kind. I would have loved to see that. And that's not faulting the movie at all. I think it was incredible. It's just something that I want, and maybe someday that movie will get made. And I'd love to see that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, just because I think the only ding that I would have, but it's just a personal desire of mine, is along with what Anna was saying, that I would just like to see more of a challenge in terms of the type of characters that we see get to tell the story.
Well, Matt, we know people of color didn't exist in the 50s.
Right? So. They just didn't exist. They did not exist.
At least not according to Hollywood.
We get a flash of one in a single scene, and that's just of them walking in front of the camera and then leaving.
Yes.
No names, no agency, nothing.
It is a little glaring
Just a
with
flash.
modern lens, You're watching these, and I get it, because like where they lived and who they associated with and stuff, they probably wouldn't have interacted with a lot of people of color. Carol's life would not have been, filled with people of color. So I get that.
Yeah.
But it is very stark in nowadays when you come out with a film where there just really isn't anybody of any color. It's like,
it's just not realistic.
Yeah. It's odd. But it was then. It was realistic then. But
right.
nowadays,
it was realistic in that period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. Well, guys. So
how many long cigarettes are you giving it?
In the spirit of AnaCristina, I will cut one of my cigarettes in half.
So uncouth of you.
Yeah. But it was a clove cigarette. Oh God, those clove cigarettes. So they do taste good. Okay, anyway, we're gonna start. Our listeners are gonna get into smoking even if they're not interested.
Oh, no. This is not an endorsement.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. So all right. I will give out 4.5 of long cigarettes. I love this movie so much. I'm glad that I gave it a rewatch. It's definitely got all the things that I look for in a film that I've discussed here on the pod before. It hits all of the beats. I would say, I would say like the discussion thing probably brought it down from the 5. I probably would have given it a 5, but talking about it, the discussion with you guys and about the diversity and choices that could have been made, maybe, again, with maybe having the character Torres be more non-binary or atypical looking or dressed a little more, like an actual lower class person, I think would have gone a long way to help ground it in a little more reality. And instead of, it's almost like a super idealistic view of these characters that we got from this film, where they're both very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 cigarettes. But I still love the film, and everybody should watch it. And it's free on Netflix right now.
And it's a beautiful piece.
And your voice would be incredibly hoarse after 4.5 cigarettes, regardless. So either way, you're gonna be in a lot of pain.
The clove ones really do. Like, they're worse for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
and I can quit whenever I like.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Oh,
I don't have a problem. You have a problem.
I remember that commercial.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. If you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, check out The Captain's Couch, a Star Trek Voyager podcast hosted by Jeremiah sitting on Janeway's Ready Room couch. Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark, Matt, and Laz. Beam Aboard the Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Amy, Joe, Rhea, and Kevin. History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Union Federation, covering all things Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Star Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Spill the Tea with What's the Tea, Bev, a Trek current events and fan interview show hosted by Christos. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind, BQN's monthly roundtable discussion with hosts and listeners. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics hosted by Mark. And Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek, hosted by Amy. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
So, listeners, next up on our next episode, we'll be discussing Trading Places.
Yes.
Trading Places is a 1983 American comedy film directed by John Landis, starring Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, and Jamie Lee Curtis. The film tells the story of an upper-class commodities broker, played by Dan Aykroyd, and a bitter-sweet hustler, played by Eddie Murphy, whose lives cross when they are unwittingly made the subject of an elaborate bet to test how each man will perform when their life circumstances are swapped.
That is peak Eddie Murphy right there. That's a great movie.
Is. I love this film so much. It's
been
so
a long
funny.
time.
I am from Cameroon, and he keeps whipping himself with that thing. Oh my God, I'm dead already.
No.
I need to. It's been so long since I've seen this movie. I need to go back.
Remember at the beginning when he's in the box and he's pretending he doesn't have legs?
I
and
remember
he gets up and
that.
runs away.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Listeners, watch this film. It's so funny.
Absolutely.
Oh,
You're
Lord.
going to have a blast rewatching this and reliving those moments again.
All right. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, to continue our discussion there. You can also send your thoughts to @CinemaZPod on Twitter and BlueSky, and let us know if you'd like to recommend a film. Please follow the network on Twitter, BlueSky, and Instagram @BQN Podcasts. So, AnaCristina,
Mhm.
where can people find you when you're not scissoring?
You're the worst.
I am, and you knew that
Terrible.
already.
Terrible. Oh gosh. You can find me on Twitter @Chrissiton, to discuss all things queer theory, queer history, and queer philosophy. That's something I talk about an awful lot. And I also like to pick fights with TERFs. So if you'd like to watch me put up my dukes, that would be a great mode of entertainment for me as well as you.
Oh, it is entertaining. Trust me, listeners. Follow her, please.
So, Matt, where can people follow you when you're not ruining your voice and chain smoking?
Oh my gosh, when I am not ruining my voice and chain smoking, you can find me on Instagram at 1701BLERD and on TikTok on at 1701BLERD. I have a web series that's about a gay black nerd using Star Trek to cope with life. I'm deep into editing the 3rd episode. I'm almost done. And then it's just going to get composed. Have a composer doing some music, and then I'm going to release it. But it's almost done, so stay tuned. Watch the first 2, but you'll find it there, and you'll find me there. And Mark, where can people find you when you are not flirting with people at the department store and telling them they have nice hats?
I like hats. Maybe it's just a compliment. I have a hat collection. That is valid. Anyway, so when I'm not complimenting hats, you can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group. You can also find me on BlueSky at MW207. I also have another podcast, if you like Star Trek, called All Good Things, and you can listen to me there. Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcasts with our master feed by searching BQN.
At this time, we would like to thank our associate producer, Amy Nelson. A special thanks to Las Marquez for our original show art. The opening and closing music for this podcast is titled Dancing Dead and was provided by Ketsa from the Free Music Archive, providing royalty-free music for content creators.
If you'd like to help us keep our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We will add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and other network perks. With a monthly subscription of $5 or more, you can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion on the 2nd Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Thank you for listening.
And we hope you will tune in next time.
And if you are going to go on Grindr, make sure that you stretch and do your squats.
And be safe, everybody. Get on PrEP. Everybody on PrEP.
Oh, that's such a wholesome message. I thought we were supposed to be snarky.
Well, I'm the kind of person that, like, if I'm at an orgy, I'll just hand out towels. Water? Do you want water? Towel? You want to take a break? Oh, okay. Okay.
Excuse me, guys. Does anybody have a light?
Just going to subtly leave my gloves on the table here and walk away. No pressure.
Hey, lady, you left your glove. Hey.